Vice President, Nahive Wealth Management. And the whole symbol, I never told you that before, but you check the symbol out. This thing is funky. It's like the cat's meow. Do you check this thing out? So we have in here a dude walking. And if you notice, this is like a talk bubble, right? Those talking bubbles that you see. And it's part of the whole motto. We walk the talk. We walk the talk. We talk the talk and then we walk the walk. Therefore, we walk the talk. What we say is what we're going to do. You're going to know what it is you get and why you get it. You're going to know when, and you will also know just when it's time to get rid of it. You'll also know what it is you're getting into. You're going to know things that will make things so clear so that you can have consistency. We don't want to have wild swings. We don't want to have things going out of whack. That will drive the confidence that you're going to get to your goals. Clarity, consistency, confidence. We walk the talk. And with that, let's launch into this thing. Budgeting. Budgeting. A budget is how you plan, how you spend and save your income. It helps you track where your money goes. Remember, tells your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And it ensures that your spending aligns with your goals. Why budgeting and savings matter? Because the goal is to control your money instead of it controlling you. Now, check out this path. We're on a path. We're headed somewhere. Well, where are we headed? We're headed to a destination, and your budget is going to help you get to that destination. It gives you freedom, not restriction. That's one of the complaints that people have with budgets. I feel so tied. I feel handcuffed. I feel as if I got to spend only what this thing spends. Like, I don't want that. I want to spend what I want to spend on and when I want to spend it. And this budget's got me in jail. Well, it actually has you free, and you'll see that in a couple of slides. It gives you freedom, not restriction. It makes your money behave. I mean, how many of you have pets? And a dog? A cat? I would rather a dog, because cats are notorious for not behaving.
They do what they want.
Yeah, they do what they want. Any dogs up in here? Yeah. When you tell your dog sit, what does the dog do? Sit. Here, boy. What does he do? He comes. That is you mastering your pet. You make the pet behave, and you do the exact same thing with your money. That's what a budget does. It makes it behave, and you become the master. Check out this thing. Y'all seen this before, right? I played this exactly once, ever. Y'all know what that is? Of? No, I don't know any game that's called Budget and Savings. What is that game called? Huh? No. Life, yes. That's the name of the game. Yes. It's the game of life where you go through a whole bunch of stuff and then you end up at Shady Springs Retirement Home. That's right. Once exactly I played this game. In this game of life, you go through wines, ups and downs, bumps and smooth patches. And a budget is what's going to help you navigate through all of that. People are going to get sick and they're going to die. People are going to be born. They're going to grow up, graduate, get married. There's going to be a lot of that stuff that goes on. And for each one of those, there's a cost. For every one of those, there's a cost. A budget helps you navigate through that entire path. It helps keep you on track so that you can get to your goals. Now, remember what I said earlier about a budget being something that actually gives you freedom, not restriction? Who is it that you find in jail? Oh, please don't tell me the cops are after the black man and there's mass incarceration. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What? Criminals. Do criminals follow rules? Yeah, that's exactly who we find locked up. People who don't follow rules. And folks, that's exactly how it will be with your money. Your money will be in a prison, and you will be there with it if you don't follow rules. Listen to this idiot talk about, oh, I did things my own way. I didn't listen to anyone. I followed my own path. I was captive to no one and no thing, and that's why I'm free. All the while, he's in jail. And if you think about how, for the most part of many people's lives, they go about with their money, that's exactly the same thing. Spend on what they want, wherever they want, however they want. And they call that freedom. And yet they're deep in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth, always having to come up with some excuse as to why they're not taking care of their responsibilities. A budget does not put you in jail. It doesn't handcuff you. A budget actually allows you to be free to do everything that you want to do within limits, within bounds. The greatest show on earth. What is the biggest challenge any one of us has to face? Making you think now. Be like, come on, Lyndon, we just went through school. I want to think now. Just want you to talk to me. Tell me, what is the biggest challenge any of us will ever go through? Ever. And for those of you that are with your spouses, please don't look at them. They're not the biggest. Biggest challenge that any one of us will have is mastering ourselves. It's taking care of ourselves, right? For those of you Christians that are in here, the Bible even tells us that if we are to follow the narrow path, we need to deny ourselves, pick up that cross, deny ourselves. Why is it that we fail? Because there's always that time where we just don't deny ourselves. The greatest show on earth is mastering yourself, getting yourself right. And your money can only do what you, the master of your money, tells it to do. If you let someone else do it, then you're not in control anymore. Someone else is in control. And if you don't have control over yourself, those urges, those desires, your money will absolutely follow you wherever that leads. So the question now becomes, is it that you master your money, or are you mastered by your money? Does money serve you, or do you serve money? We need to be in a position where we are telling our money what to do instead of our money telling us what to do. What are examples of money telling us what to do? That's where we actually want to take our kid out to, I don't know, the museum or to the ballpark, but we can't because we have no money. So your money's saying, no, you can't do that. As opposed to if you had your budget will say, you know what? I've got X amount left over. And yes, we have set it aside to go to the ballpark, whatever it might be. You need to be in a position where you're telling your money what to do instead of it telling you what to do. Budgeting. Budget monthly. Some people do it weekly. I think that's too frequent. And I don't think that gives a good representation of what really goes on. Budget monthly. PIF. Remember what PIF is? I mean, look at, pay yourself first. And I know people, I'd be like, come on, Lyndon. I'm a faithful Christian. God must get his first. I ain't denying that. Give it to him. But after you've done that, pay yourself first. Everybody else gets paid. All your friends, your friend's named William. You know, yeah. Light bill, gas bill, car bill. Need to start changing the name to William. Might actually sound better. Car William. Yes, I'm British now. There's a Car William. Pay yourself first. Record and track your expenses. So life has been made easy for us. Before it used to be on paper, right? But now most of us do things by plastic or by digital payments. So all we got to do really is just download and then categorize, because the tracking is already done for you. Ensure all income and outflows are captured. You know, some of us, we actually go to the ATM and we take out like, I don't know, 200, 300 bucks. And we think to ourselves, oh, it's nothing. But if you do that 2 and 3 times a month, that's a good 600 bucks that's unaccounted for. Where did that money go? If you have a hard time sticking to using your debit card in order to make purchases, yes, having cash makes sense so long as they're separated. Money for this, money for that, money for that. And once the money for that is spent, that's it. It's done. No more. But you want to track. The only way you're going to know that is if you track all income and all outflows. Agree. What do I mean by agree? This is for those of you that have someone else that makes the decisions for money. If you do not agree, you're talking about truly a very difficult relationship. It's one of the top things that causes disruption in relationships, especially marriages. Now, I notice that there are more women here than men, but y'all know this to be true. So don't hate Lyndon. What are the two things that separate friends? And takes a woman to say that. Money and she's gonna stick with. Well, when we were coming up in our day, it would be money and women, and y'all know it to be true because y'all girls, y'all see some dude and everybody starts, oh, well, I saw him first. Who knows what else goes on? But next thing you know, y'all are no longer friends. Why? Because, yeah. And you're smiling because you know it's true. You know it's true. So we don't want for that to be the case in your relationship. So agree. Agree that this is how we're going to move forward. Now, some people say, well, what if you can't come to terms? Someone once said this, and I'm going to repeat it. Not me. Someone said it. They said, whichever of you is the most mature, let that be the first person to break the ice. Whoever's the most mature, that should be the one to break that ice. Fixed and flexible. There's certain things that are fixed. What are some things that you cannot change? It's going to be there no matter what. Like light bill. That's going to be there no matter what. I don't care what you do, you're going to have a light bill. What else? Well, groceries will be there, but when the kids leave, you will notice a precipitous drop, a big drop in that bill. What else would be a fixed expense? Mortgage, right? Things that really don't change a whole lot from month to month, right? And then flexible would be things like, yeah, groceries and, right. Those things typically, Thanksgiving is probably up here. February is probably down there. Who knows, right? So get a grip on what's fixed and what's flexible, what can actually be changed from month to month, and then help you budget out. Help you budget out. Look for ways to actually do better. Look for ways to do better. What do I mean by that? I mean, there was one couple that I had that actually started to find ways to actually save more money. For instance, real easy, right? Someone that actually leaves out about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, they don't have time to prepare their lunch and whatnot. So they figured, okay, we'll just go grab something at the, store or whatever. And then it was, why don't you prepare tomorrow's lunch the day before, right? And that way you get to save an extra. Think about it, guys. Think about it. If it's just $5 for that coffee and donut, and hopefully none of us are drinking coffee and eating donuts, but if it's $5 for coffee and donuts, it's $25 a week. It's $100 a month. Can you do something else with $100? Yeah. So help your budget out. Help your budget out. So when we're looking at these budgeting things, there comes these extras that creep into it. I mean, you're seeing one of those things there. I'm told that those run about $8 for one cup. How much? I wonder how you know that. And I don't think that's the chocolate version if it's a Starbucks. I'm thinking that's the latte, or I don't drink any of that stuff. Oh, wow. Wow. Even though the marketing name. These are the extras that you can identify in your budget and do without. Check it out. Going to the movies, eating out with friends on a regular, overdraft fees, late charges, the extra bundle and save. How many of you get trapped by that bundle and save? Do you'll fall into that bundle and save trap? Yeah, if you get 2 and 3 services, you'll actually pay less. So if you got the one service, it's like $70. But if you got all 3, it's $99. Oh, that's a steal. I'm only paying $29 more for 2 more services. No, you're not. You're paying $29 more than you need to because you got sucked in by the bundle. Those are ways that you can avoid expenditures and pay it back to yourself. And never mind the found money, like what you find in the wash, under the bed, or who knows wherever it is that you left it. These are ways that you can actually help yourself. So now, 50-30-20 rule. What is the 50-30-20 rule? Can anyone tell me without looking? Was that? That's right. Needs, wants, and savings. 50% goes to, 30% goes to, and 20% goes to savings. Which one of those should be set aside first? Pay yourself first. Thank you, Celeste. Pay yourself first. Do that first, right? Savings comes first. Pay yourself first. And then needs, and then wants. And you might be asking yourself, well, what are needs? As we did in the class just before this, is Christmas an emergency? Is it a need? For many people, it's as if they found out 3 days ago that Christmas falls on the 25th of December. It's like, oh, man, yeah. No, Christmas is not a need, and it is definitely not an emergency. Needs are essential. Gotta have. Can't do without. Wants are lifestyle choices. Nice to haves. Nice to haves. So keep that in mind. Now, I am not some hardened ogre where if indeed in your home, because of somebody's upbringing, Christmas is absolutely a need. Truly, it's like, somebody's in the doghouse, or don't bother to come home tonight if you don't get that Christmas gift. It's not worth breaking up your relationship. If that is part and parcel of what you're experiencing, then I would say, just like we did before, agree on the budget, have an understanding of what's absolutely essential. Recognize what are nice to haves. It would be nice to have an upgraded phone. I've had the same phone now for about 4, almost 5 years. Right? Get that understanding so that you're not throwing money into things that don't need your capital. And you track once per month, 1 month of expenses, and you categorize them. You label what those expenses are. What else do we have here, folks? Emergency fund. I have a thing called MEM. It's not up here, but hopefully you will get it. It's called maintenance emergency money. Maintenance emergency money is money that will maintain you in an emergency. Money that will maintain you in an emergency. And I have a saying, it says, if your MEM is complete, your REM will be sweet. You don't know what REM is? Huh? REM sleep, that's right. If your maintenance emergency money is fully built out, 3 months for single people, minimum, 6 months for those that have dependents, minimum. You could have more than that, but minimum should be 3 months for single, 6 months for those with dependents. And it'll allow you to sleep easy at night because there is nothing that is about to happen that you don't have covered. If your car breaks down and your MEM is complete, you don't have to be like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get to work? How am I going to get it fixed? What am I going to do? No, because you're going to reach to your MEM and say, fix that. Pay for that. If a family member is like truly, they are in dire straits, you don't have to sit there rubbing your hands and bawling your eyes out. You reach to your MEM and you say, help that. If your MEM is complete, maintenance emergency money, then your REM will be sweet. Planned maintenance. Remember the difference that we said when we looked at 3 buckets and lazy money? The difference between a job and a purpose? A job is something that you give your money to do right away. A purpose is what you set your money aside for to be later employed in a job. And planned maintenance allows you to have your money serve a purpose. That is, I know at some point the car's going to need fixing, or the pipes, or the roof, or whatever it might be. So when you do a budget, you actually plan for that. And of course, personal and family affairs, as I mentioned earlier. Plan savings like your 401k. Do you all have a 401k? Do they match? That sucks. Sorry. That's really bad. But it's still good to put money away because it compounds over time, and you will see that shortly. And then, of course, control and maintain expenses. Invest for the future. Invest, invest, invest. We're not going to talk about investing this week. That's next week. But when you plan through your budget, your savings, you can now invest for the future. How do we do this? Look at the steps. See the steps? Track your income and your expenses. So when we actually go through this with our clients, we do 2 months because we recognize 1 month can throw things off somewhat. So we want at least 2 months of income and expenses in order for us to get a good idea of what it is that you're spending. Number 2, build an emergency fund. Now, this is critical. I don't care how good you are with whatever it is that you're doing. Things will pop up. And if you don't have something to cover that emergency, it is going to derail your plan. Get an emergency fund. Remember, your MEM should be at least 3 months if you're single, 6 months if you have a dependent or married. Number 3, now you pay down debt. What we did last week through debt dominoes, you pay down debt after you've built out your emergency fund, after you've found out what you're bringing in and what you're putting out. You pay down debt. Then you start to invest, and you invest early, and this is so critical. Investing early puts you so far ahead of the game, as you will see. But now is always the best time. If you haven't started, now is still the best time to invest. Because no matter what it is now, in 20 years, I don't want you looking back and saying, I should have done that 20 years ago. If you started now, you would have done that 20 years ago when you get to the future. And number 5, review. You don't just set it and forget it and then don't worry about it. No, you want to go back and review to make sure that you're on track toward meeting your goals. So those are your 5 steps there, folks. Make sure you've got them down. Budget, build the emergency fund, tear down the debt, invest and review, maintain and review. The emergency fund, what should be in your emergency fund? Or what is the purpose? Well, you want to cover unexpected expenses. You want to start small. If you're having a difficult time, we typically say get about $1,000 set aside if you can, as quickly as you can. If you got to do that 25 at a time, do it 25 at a time. But start small, get there, and then build out. As you see in this bubble over here, build out to at least 3 to 6 months. That's your emergency fund. Just real brief now, we're going to look at the debt dominoes. That is paying off debt. You got to have a system, and you got to have accountability. If you don't have it within yourself, you need to find someone whom you respect and who you'd hate to disappoint. You need to have them as your accountability partner to make sure that you get that debt paid down. What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the things that you got to look out for? Yeah. Not having that budget or totally ignoring it. You put it down on paper, but you just gloss right over it and go right back to those same habits, which is why having the accountability is key. If discipline is the entree of the meal ticket to prosperity, then accountability is the secret sauce. Accountability is what gives your plan oomph. It gets it there. Taking on debt. Oh, it's okay if I actually overspend because it's Thanksgiving and we'll have the family coming in and I don't want to be embarrassed that I did not have enough. Tell them bring their own food. Are they going to bail you out of debt because you needed to impress them with how much you could put out there? So bring your own. Avoid that temptation of going back into debt. And people find ways. I tried to find a clip today. A caller called in to Dave Ramsey. Y'all think like 100 grand is a good income? Is that a good income?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good income, right? This chick was bringing in 300 grand and could not get out of debt. Could not get out of debt. I believe it's because she kept doing this. Yeah. Kept taking on, kept spending, did not have that self accountability to say no. Couldn't turn away family, couldn't turn away her own desires. 300 grand? Are you kidding me? And could not get out. So, folks, this is no joke. This is no joke. Now, one of the things Mr. White mentioned that I'm going to reinforce here, and that is if you get a raise, truly live as if you didn't get it. Live at the income that you're living at before the raise and use that extra either to pay off debt or to invest. You will kiss yourself for it. I know. I mean, that's why I barely shake hands, because I'm kissing myself all the time. Because we try not to live at our means or above. Live beneath your means. Do not spend that raise. Save it. Invest it. Not investing soon enough, that's a problem, but it's not the end of the world. And as you will see, it's really to your advantage to get started now. And trying to time the market. Do you know what I mean by timing the market? I don't mean, Walmart's grand Thanksgiving sale opens at 5 a.m., so I'm going to time. No, that's not timing the market. Timing the market is, I hear AI is like the thing to invest in. So I'm going to wait until it drops and then I'm going to get in. That's timing the market. That's a fool's game. You can't do that. When we get into investing, I'll show you how you can get into things that you are hoping to get in, but you want to wait, so to speak, for things to be at a better place. But just don't try it. Just keep that in mind. Don't try to time the market. Nobody's ever wanted that. Now, what about savings? What about savings? Savings versus investing. Savings is short term. It's somewhat safe, and you're not going to get rich by saving. It's just not going to happen. You will get peace of mind, yes. You will get stability, yes. But building out wealth, unless you are saving like 90% of your income, you are not going to get wealthy by savings. You have to invest in order to get there. Investing is more long-term. It's more growth-oriented. And there are certain risks involved in investing. Investing means exactly that you put your capital at risk in the hopes of getting a higher return. Both of them are essential in order for you to do better in your financial life. You need to save. In fact, you cannot invest unless you have saved money. It's impossible. You have to have saved money in order to invest. And savings helps take care of the near-term stuff, whereas investing is for more longer-term issues. So what investments are there? Well, look at all of those different things: mutual funds, bonds, stocks, treasuries, there's NFTs, there's art, there's real estate, there's gold, there's oil, and there's more and more and more. There are a ton, seemingly limitless areas that you can invest in. Now, let me ask, how many of you have heard of at least half of those things on this list? All right. Know what an NFT is? Yeah, I figured that the young guys would know what NFTs are. Yeah. And it's like good. No, NFTs are called non-fungible tokens. The best way to think about it, like digital signatures. So let's just pretend. We're going to try to make it a reality. But let's just pretend that this was the very first day before we all became billionaires. And it all started in this room. And someone took a picture and said, this is the group that went from zero to hero in several months. And now you put that out there for the world to say that this is the original. How do we know it's the original? It could be a copy. How do you know? That's where NFTs comes in. NFTs is a digital signature that says that is the original. No one else can actually have it. CDs, yeah, they're digitized, but it's just a copy. It could be anybody's. But with an NFT, you actually have the authenticated signature that says that that is the original. And I think that does have purpose. There is some merit to that. And it's a thing that you can invest in. Art. I mean, most of us look at comic books and the stuff that's on like this stuff here and whatnot. But these things go for millions of dollars per. And people invest in art. And I would encourage you to actually educate yourself about some of these things. It has been countless times that people have gone to garage sales. I really wish that I was one of them. I just don't do garage sales. They've gone to garage sales, picked up some art that somebody thought was only worth $5, turned out to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, millions. Numerous, countless times that has happened. If I'd been educated in art, I might have gone to garage sales looking for exactly that. I'm saying this to you to say that the potential for investing truly is almost limitless. Look at something that you like and then get into that, but you can only invest with saved money. That's the point. You can't, well, I guess you can invest with borrowed money, but that's taking on more risk. And I would not recommend that you take on that kind of risk. All right, so that's investing. Won't spend a lot of time today because we're going to go that over next week. Saving means setting aside money for future use. It also helps protect you from financial emergencies and it builds financial security. Why save? Prepared for those unexpected expenses. Helps you reach those financial goals. Reduces stress. How many of you would have a stress less life if you had exactly the amount of money that you wanted to do what you wanted to do? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Getting there through savings is one avenue. And then, of course, you build wealth over time. Short-term savings, they're used for goals within 1 to 3 years. It's part of where your emergency fund is. You do not want to invest your emergency fund. It should be in savings. You use your savings to go on vacation. You use your savings for car repairs. You use that for new gadgets. And you also keep it in an account or a savings account or a money market fund, short term, easy to get to. You want your savings in that category, not something that is meant for 5 and 10 and 15 years down the road. That's more slated for investments. How do we know? Well, look at that. Long-term savings used for 5+ years. College, unless, of course, the kid is 17, then it's not going to be 5+ years, right? Buying a house, retirement, and of course, invested in growth things like IRAs, 401ks, and the like. Now, where do you keep your savings? Under the mattress? Uh-huh. In that shoebox? Uh-huh. In the backyard? Uh-huh. Where do you keep your savings? Because I don't trust the banks. It's the government. They're going to take some money. Well, folks, you need to keep your money someplace safe. A bank is a great place to be. And there's also long-term savings, things like your IRA and your 401k and your 403b and your 457, and gold and silver, platinum, and real estate. Not just houses. You could buy raw land. Do you know what I mean by raw land? A plot of land. Had a guy back at IBM back in 1990. He said that he bought some property back in 1970 something, like 75, 77, something like that. They just bought it just to say, hey, I'm just going to buy it. And don't you know what happened about like 12 years later? University of Florida came knocking on his door. We want to buy your land because we're trying to expand our campus. Instant millions. What cost only a couple of thousand. Yeah, raw land. And you know why, folks? They ain't making any more land. All the land that we have, it's right here. And Elon is still not going to colonize Mars, at least not while we're alive. So yes, this is it. This is all we have. So real estate makes sense. But you want to diversify. You want to make sure that you have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of the other thing. Tips for successful savings: set a clear goal and set deadlines. If you set a goal but you don't have an endpoint, what good is that goal? Set clear goals. Oh, gee, Looks like I messed up the second one. Keep short and long-term money separate. Don't mix the two. And revisit your goals regularly. So the takeaway here is make saving a habit. Do you guys have to think about tying your shoe? It's habit. Second nature, right? Same thing with brushing your teeth. Do you know that you actually go through a certain muscle memory? I caught myself doing this. I took my toothbrush out of the drawer and I ran the water and I stuck the toothbrush under the water. Why? Habit. There's no purpose for me. What's it doing? It's not toothpaste. No, it's not. But I found that that's what I've been doing for years. And I consciously now say, no, I'm not going to run the water. I'm going to put the toothpaste right on there. Habit. It's like second nature. That's what you want with your savings. You want to make it habitual. That happens second nature. The minute you get paid, you're going to pay yourself first. Yeah, the minute you get paid. In fact, before you even get paid, you set it up so that on payday, immediately it is taken out, sent to your savings. Habitually. Make short-term savings to protect you today. Long-term savings secure your future. Financial freedom comes from these things, guys. Make it automatic. Make it a habit. I'd also might even go on to say make it reflective. The way that you put your hand on the stove and you pull it back out of reflexes, same thing with savings. You want this thing to be reflective, that it just happens. Now, check this out. Everybody get your thinking caps on because I'm asking a question and I want an answer. Here we have George, Frank, Lisa, and Rebecca. Is it the guys against the girls? No. It's the longs versus the shorts. What do I mean? We have George starting off. He started early and then stopped after 20 years. George started at 21 and then he stopped 41. He did not contribute another penny. You see that, right? And then next up we have Frankie. Frankie said, you know, I love my life so much. I am going to wait. So Frank waited 20 years, nothing, right? And then started contributing $2,000. You see that? George started and went till 20. Frank said, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to party it up. I'm going to start saving in 20 years. Got that? So what do you think? What do you think Lisa did? Come on, what do you think Lisa did? And she kept on going. Right? She kept on going. Because you see here, it's about 2,000 more than him, right? Right? She kept on going all the way. And Rebecca, and you already see it there, right? Rebecca waited 20 years, but unlike George, she said, ooh, what happened there? Unlike Frank, she said, he's a fool. He only saved 2,000. I'm going to double it up. I am going to save 4,000. You already see it. So now I can't even ask you the question. Do you see what happened there? The difference between Lisa, who started and kept on all the way until age 65. She only has, it's not like it's chump change, but she only has about 150 grand more than George, who stopped after 20 years. Lisa kept on for 40 plus years. Frank stopped after 20 years. And she only has about 150 grand more. That is why you want to start today. Do you see that? That's why you want to start today, especially you. This is why I was telling you earlier that you are in a great spot because you're not even 21 yet. And if you did something like this, guys, this is $2,000 a year, not a month. Do you see that? 2,000 a year, less than 200 a month, and yet over almost $1 million at a 9% return. And then this, live it up and do whatever it is that I want to do, 150 grand. It ain't nothing, but look how much more he could have had. And then this girl thinking, oh, I'm going to double it, catch up, move ahead. Not even a third of the way to Lisa, and not halfway to George. Folks, this is why saving now is important. Because even if you were a knucklehead like Frank, you still got 150 grand. That's better than ending up at 65 with nothing and having to depend on family, friends, and the federal government. Does that make sense? That's why starting now makes sense. That's why I encourage you, start now. Even if it's small, even if it's not 2,000, get started, get in that habit, get in that it's reflective, it's just going to happen. Because over time, things will change and you'll be able to put away more. And you will, just like you will kiss yourself for it. Seriously be telling people that you can't shake that hand. That's my kissing hand. So that's where we go back to. That's where we go back to here. If it's short term, we're going to put it like we're going to need it within 3 years. Put it in a bank, put it in treasuries, put it in something where you can get to it and it's safe. If it's long term, then you're going to want to have it in retirement accounts or have it in precious metals like gold, silver, platinum. Or if it's going to be in real estate, you can buy houses, you can buy land, you can buy houses and land, you can buy a slice through real estate investment trusts of houses and land. So that's where you would actually put your savings. Now, mind you, if we go back even more to that chart, the long-term vehicles becomes almost limitless because you can now put that saved money into any or all of these, depending on your preference. So start saving. If it's short term, we're going to keep it at the bank. If it's longer term, we have options. That make sense? All right. Let's step through. That is crazy. Wow. So, how can I get this budget and saving things going? There are many, many different apps. I think Quicken took over Mint, right? Anybody know? Anybody can verify? I'm pretty sure that's true. Quicken took over Mint, so Mint really doesn't exist as a standalone. It's part of Intuit. Why NAB is you need a budget. And then every dollar is also another app that you can use to budget your savings. Investments, you've got them all. Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab. What's the other one? Robinhood. What's the others? I thought there was like Webull and TD Ameritrade. Got a ton of vehicles, tons of Betterment. You guys know about Betterment? Yeah, all of that. And of course, you can educate yourself. The number one site that's not up there is nahifewm.com. nahifewm.com. And then you can go to those second tier sites like Investopedia and FINRA and the like. And I'm done. What questions you got for me?